This Sunday. Every Sunday, side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here, relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gas, but mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands for the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes Pit Pass. Sunday!
I gotta knock a second off to get a trophy run. 1 grand, 2 grand, RPM. If I keep breaking loose on the line, then I'm done. 3 grand, 4 grand, RPM. That's why I'm winding up.
Yeah, you'll wind it up. If you're tacking out and hitting that red line, you've tuned into the right show. You've got Motormouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive train wreck on this fine Sunday. How you doing over there, dented fender?
I think I sprained my neck on that last tune.
Well, we're back doing it again, Chris. It's another fine Sunday here at Motormouth Radio.
Yes, yes.
Got a lot to talk about. We're coming off our marathon, and believe it
I know, and I'm still tired.
and we still have a lot to talk about.
My side still hurts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But just want to wish you a happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Thank you. It's a lovely day for a nice Easter holiday. So hope you're all going to celebrate in a wonderful way and eat a lot.
Oh,
because that's usually what you do during these holidays. Just invite people over and eat a lot. So yes.
Sure.
But do you want to start this off? Do you want me to start this off?
What do you got? You got something? Let's go.
I got something that is it's a little puff piece. I'm singing the praises of Toyota.
Okay.
That's what I am doing. I love Top Gear. I love watching the English version.
Right.
The American version, not so much, but I'm a fan of the English version. And they did many years ago. They did the tested the durability of what was known as the pickup truck there in Europe. It's called the Helix, Toyota Helix. It's a small pickup truck with the 2.2 motor. And they tortured this poor truck, and it kept starting. It kept starting. Every time they drowned it, they dropped it from a building, they did all kinds of crazy stuff, and it would always start. So they proved the durability of the Toyota product. And there's also, I watch, we've talked about this on the show, Auto Parts City from Grundy, Illinois, the salvage yard that's there. Love this. I'm a fan of Auto Parts City, to see the inside operation of a well-run salvage yard. Mm-hmm. So, and there, the guy who hosts it, I guess you could say, we don't know his name, you've never seen him, but he's very good at what he does, will always walk up to a Toyota that looks like complete garbage, gets in, hits the key, goes, well, it's a Toyota, it's going to start right up, fires right up. So this week, I had the opportunity to step up to a Toyota Camry that had not been started in approximately 18 months.
Oh.
And with the jumper pack you gave me, I hooked it up and hit the key, and it started right up.
Wow. That's pretty darn good.
I'm telling you, because even my wife said, the gas in that is about 18 months old. I said, yeah, I know.
Yeah, no fooling.
Yeah, it was able to start. It was able to run. It was able to go into gear and out of gear. All the windows worked. It's remarkable. I was totally blown away by
Whose fine vehicle was that, pray tell?
it was it was my in-laws.
Okay, all right,
It
okay.
just hadn't moved. It just had not moved. No one had a chance to start it. And mind you, it's a I guess you could say it's a 15-year-old car on top of that. It's not new.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was just amazed at I was thinking of Top Gear and thinking of Auto Parts City when I was going to hit the key and I was waiting for this thing to just not do anything. I mean, the battery is stone cold dead,
Right.
but yeah, just for the fact that I was able to get in there and just hit the key and fire it up, and I was like, holy smokes! And it ran fine.
Now, there's something that always amazed me because there's a car that doesn't have a full set of gauges. You can't see oil pressure or anything.
Right.
And you just say, hey, it started. It sounds great. Good. Let's go for a drive. So,
No, I ran it for about 20 minutes and shut it off.
is there going to be any maintenance done to this car now that it's.
Yeah, eventually when the time comes, but we didn't have the time for that at that moment this week. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it still had a heartbeat if you jumped it with the defibrillator.
No, right,
Uh,
that's the place to start. Yeah.
yeah, so that was really it. But I was entirely impressed. To
Sure.
me, there is almost nothing better if you're looking for a sedan of any kind that's like a four-door people mover that you can truly rely on nowadays. A 15-year-old Toyota Camry has got to be up there on top of that list.
So let me tell you too. Let me segue this into something we all should be doing this time of
Yes.
year. Again, we talk about it, but it seems to pay off in the long run. I know it seems a little overboard sometimes, but we're in spring, and we really are hitting a spring this year, which is nice.
Yeah,
Go out and check your tire pressures. Make sure
sure.
they're up from the. They may even be a little high right now if you increased them a few weeks ago.
Hmm.
It's also the season for wiper blades. Good time to change your blades. Get new ones on there for the
We
season.
talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, we talk about this all the time, so it's nothing new. It's very repetitive for us, but other people say, "Hey, I remembered you talking about that." The other thing is, and I told my daughter this down in North Carolina. I said, Wait for the beginning of the season to pass because we haven't hit it yet. They already have, and that's pollen."
Oh, yeah.
Right? So let the pollen fall off the trees, let that go, and then look at your cabin air filter because that's what's going to trap all that pollen. So this after it falls the first time, they get two really heavy pollen seasons in the South. We really have, I mean, we get the ragweed, but we don't have we really get it just once.
It's funny because yes, I must admit you guys get some sort of pollen because there is a tree. There's a tree by you somewhere on Long Island
Uh-huh.
that there's one or two trees at least on Long Island because all you Italians knock down all the trees. And believe me, it's happening up here too.
Uh,
It's like all these Italians are moving in, taking all the trees out. I'm like, what's
Concrete,
next?
baby.
You gonna cement everything next? What's
Yes.
going on?
Pave
Yeah.
paradise, make it awesome. Got that right. And then
The only trees are in my yard now.
paint it green. Yeah,
Yeah, they come and go, when are you going to take down that tree? I'm like, when are you going to jump in a lake?
we're out of here.
So, but yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And up here, and this is something, it's very funny because you mentioned tire pressure, you mentioned basic wiper blades. Pop the hood on your car. Just open the hood. I had a laugh. My neighbor that I was talking about last week before about brakes, and he pops the hood on his Explorer, and it has the insulation under the hood, and of course, there's a big chunk of it taken out by the same chipmunks
Yeah.
that took the chunk out of my wife's insulation
yeah.
under the hood of her car.
Yeah, they love to nest. Yeah,
Yeah, because he said to me, he goes, "You got this too?" I went, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I do."
yeah.
So just pop the hood of your car and see what's living on your engine.
You know,
Because there
and
may be a family.
And you're so
there.
right. And the way cars are today, people go years without opening the hood of their car anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
It's true.
Uncle Tony was talking about this, where older cars, you have to open the hood, because you got to check the oil, you got to like adjust the points maybe if you have he's a big fan of points distributors, and We used to always be under there seeing what was going on. Now,
Always.
not so much. So I make it a habit. I'll just pop the hood, check the oil, look at the washer fluid, take a look at the brake fluid. And
You know, I've always said that. Put your hands in your pockets and stare at the engine. Just look at it. That's all you have to do. You have
exactly.
to, yeah. And yes, you do one. You go one step further and check the washer fluid and check the coolant. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's great. I did a brake flush. You'd be proud. I
Good,
did a brake
good.
flush on the Chrysler. You know
Okay.
how long it took?
3 minutes?
Close, 4.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well,
Because I couldn't find a turkey baster.
so you just did a master cylinder suck, right?
Yeah, yes.
You
I
get
was
probably,
sucking.
I,
I
and
was sucking and thinking of you.
I don't. Yeah, that's good. That's people say that all the time. That Chris really sucks, but he thinks that you will. No, you probably I don't have scientific data to go by. I haven't done the math. It's fluid dynamics, and it'd be like really tough to do. But my estimate is you took out 75 to 80% of the fluid in the system just
You
by
think
doing that.
Wow, that's remarkable because I was thinking maybe half.
No, because if you think of what's in a brake line, a 3/16 brake line, it's very little. I mean, you
Right.
have fluid in the wheel cylinders, which is, maybe you get an ounce or two out of them, 2 ounces.
Yeah, I
Calipers are
guess.
you'd have more fluid in a caliper, but still, it's the majority of the fluid is in that master cylinder. So that's good. You did a good thing.
And it's amazing. You forget when you look at modern day master cylinders, the chambers are much bigger than they were then.
Yeah.
Because I popped the cap off and I'm looking, and it's like you can get what? You can maybe get a stack of half a dollar coins in there. I mean, it's this small little chamber like this, and there's 2 of them. It took like 2 or 3
Yeah.
what draws
Right.
of fluid out of a turkey baster and put it in an old coffee can. It took maybe 2 or 3 shots before I had the thing down to the bottom.
Now
So I
I've
was
had
like,
some newer vehicles, some of the trucks where I'm pulling that's the 8, 10, 12, 15.
yeah,
I got to do this. I have to measure how much a turkey baster holds. I'm not sure how many cc's it holds,
yeah, I don't know.
but anyway, um, we have I have anniversary in the works here.
You
Uh,
do?
yeah, the in 2 days, the 22nd, the trip that I took with my brother out to Colorado, where he bought that Nomad and we drove it home and lost a wheel on the Ohio Turnpike. The anniversary is Tuesday.
How long ago was that?
That's old, long enough to feel really old. 40 years.
It is truly, you've hit the
40
4 decade.
years since we did.
Wow.
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
yep,
1985.
that's right.
That was a good year. That was a good year, 1985. What were you driving then? Do you remember
Uh,
the car you had in
yeah, I had my
19?
Chevy Monte Carlo.
Yeah,
I had a 73 Monte. I put a big block in it.
right.
I was cruising out because I was married now. I was married, newly married, and
Right.
needed something that was, I had a good job at, I was working at Leviton. I'm wearing a shirt today. I was working there in the corporate headquarters. So,
You're wearing a shirt that's 40 years old?
this was from a reunion sometime past.
Oh, okay.
But I also still had my Pontiac, had the GTO. It was actually relegated to garage duty in Queens at the time because it was getting a little long in the tooth already.
Right. That's when it was a refrigerator box. It was just starting.
It was starting, yeah, and I would drive it. I really never drove it when I was in Queens. I never took it out in Queens for some reason. And I had my motorcycle, so I was doing that too. So yeah, still in the thick of it.
I had 2 cars in 1985. I had my Buick Electra, which was my main vehicle. It was the convertible. It was a 68, and I had just purchased from my
St. Regis.
neighbor. Huh?
You St. Regis.
No,
Oh, that's
no.
yeah. Okay.
I had a 1970 Plymouth Satellite.
Oh, cool. Good call.
That was a 318. It was a small block motor. It had absolutely nothing in it. It had no air, no power windows. It had manual seats. I bought it from my neighbor for about $275.
Wow, that's cool.
And I think I sold it for I painted it prime black and sold it for
Nice.
like $800. And I thought I made a killing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, you want to hear a little story about a killing about New York radio?
Oh, you're gonna make me well up again.
You'll appreciate this was in today's paper. I pulled it out just for you.
Thank you. That's what makes me smile.
The byline is when the music died, and they're not talking about Don McLean.
Oh,
No, WINS launched their debut on October 24th, 1924. Wow, 24, as
right.
WGBS,
Yeah.
named for owner Gimbel's department store.
Oh, wow.
Had no idea. Then, of
Neither did I.
course, newspaper titan William Randolph Hearst bought it in 32, renamed it WINS for International News Service. Did not know that either.
Okay.
But
They were always a news service
well,
because
from 32, yeah, in 50, yeah, from 32. But
if I think I know where you're going with this, 1010 Wins is celebrating an anniversary, but go ahead.
yeah, so in 1954, it brought in pioneering disc jockey Alan Freed,
Alan Freed.
right,
Sure.
to play his newfangled music that soon would be called rock and roll. But by the early 60s, it was one of New York's 4 R&R stations with WMGM,
Right.
WMCA, and WABC, which was all battling for teenagers and transistor radio play.
Exactly.
So WINS's marquee personality was Murray the K,
Murray the K.
right? Murray the K
Exactly.
Kaufman, a Motormouth character who
Yeah.
the fifth Beatle. We just call ourselves the fifth. I don't know.
Fifth of
Yeah.
Gin.
Anyway, station couldn't keep up because of ABC and all of that. So
Right. And they converted to a news
then they
format.
went to all news format. But that what was going on in New York radio, which I thought.
And what year do you know
What year? What?
that they converted to a news format?
I don't know. Let me see if they say it in this article. It doesn't. I don't see any more years. No, I don't.
1965.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, April 18th, 65.
That's exactly it.
Johnny Holiday spun the last song, which was
Mhm.
Out in the Streets by the Shangri-Las.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Johnny Holiday was a forefront in New York radio.
Okay.
He was one of those. I think there was him. There was like B. Mitchell Reed. I'm trying to think of the others. There was some others that
Right.
were maybe Harry Harrison. I don't know.
Pete
No,
Williams?
he was a good guy. He was on MCA.
Yeah.
But yeah, that to me is fascinating stuff. New York radio in the '60s
Oh, yeah.
was phenomenal, and you know as well as I do. I mean, I remember a lot of it. The radio was always on in my house. That's why.
Sure.
So I
Cable
grew up
radio.
listening to it.
Right.
Hmm.
So what people can do, they're listening to us now, maybe, but you could also, people listen to us on the stream. And don't forget, go to YouTube. We have 2 channels, Motormouth Radio and Motormouth Video, where you can find this show in its video format later on today. And you can comment like Keith and tell us when we do good or bad stuff and whatever. And we'll,
Tell us if wardrobe malfunctions.
well, that happens too. So
And like, subscribe, and comment, and just be interactive. We want to hear from you. It's not we want to hear what you have to say and how you have to say it.
and you can call the show live at 516-572-7440, or you could text us at
203-670-4127.
nice.
You can text us, definitely. Got thumbs? Use them.
So I got a little piece here that's kind of interesting.
That's quite a piece you got there, right?
Yeah, we're not going to get it has a political bent, but we're not going to go to the political side.
Mm-hmm.
China is retaliating against the country here, our country, by putting worse fortunes into the cookies. It's funny, right? So they go on to say,
If it starts off with like American dog, we got a problem.
well, no. Less than happy outcomes are in for your future, said
Oh.
one slip of paper that was in a fortune cookie.
Can I tell them they're accurate or not?
You tell them whatever you want. Other fortunes reportedly created by the Chinese to be funny, I guess, included your baseball team is unlikely to make the playoffs. So, I'd love to get one of them. We were talking Thursday night on Plane in Traffic with that, and Brian said, "Boy, the Chinese place by him doesn't even give you fortune cookies anymore. They've kind of excessed that, I guess, as I guess they're cutting corners or whatever." So sorry to hear that.
My daughter got a fortune one recently, like within the last couple of months. It said something about she'll be seeing love in the summer, and you had to like experiencing some sort of love, some sort of romance in the summer months, and she was like all upset, like I don't want to experience any love in the summer months. Like,
Sounds like an old man.
yeah,
I don't want to know about it. Leave me
I
alone.
don't want to know about your love.
Exactly. Not enough.
Keep your romance to yourself.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yes.
So something else we talked about Thursday night. This got to be a good topic, and it bears repeating.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how we got on the subject, but it doesn't matter. We were talking
You
about.
never do on your show. You never do.
I know, kind of like this show as well.
Yeah, I was going to say it kind of goes from pillar to post pretty frequently. Yes.
Lewis was talking about his solar system, I think, on the bus, and the cabling that was affected, and the wiring and whatnot.
All right.
Which got us to talk about grounds. Christian was on the show with us again, so
Oh, great.
he threw me right under the bus and said, "Yeah, you got to see Ray's car. It looks like it's like a cell tower full of grounds. I mean, there's
It's a lightning rod that goes right into the ground every time he puts it in park.
My car is well. We actually talked about that with the bus. Can you do that? Yeah, and I said, yeah. My car is more well grounded than I am. So we got
That's for sure.
we got to talk about cable, and I said all cable is not equal. And
Okay.
to give him, I had an example. I actually ran out to the garage and got these. This is
While you were on the show.
yes. Yeah. This is a piece of regular battery ground cable. Right?
Yes, standard battery ground cable. I don't know what gauge that is. It's probably off the charts as far as my numbers are concerned. I'm more familiar with thinner gauge wire than that. I would just go, that's a honking cable. That's all I would think.
And I want to show him. I showed everybody that after reading this book.
Automotive Wiring and Electrical Systems and You.
Now, this is written by Tony Candela. He's actually a fan of the show, and I tried to get him on the show, never was able to do it. I'm going to try again. He had sent me some cables. Now, this cable here it says it right on it. I'm reading it. 2,989 strands.
Really?
This looks like one of the brushes that
It looks like an old bristle brush. There's so many strands of wire. Now, that wire that you're holding up there is thinner. It's got like a thinner gauge wire than the thick,
and
clunky wire that you held up originally. Yes.
I can do.
I see how you're stroking it. It's very nice.
I can fan it because it's very soft. Or if I fan the other one, I'll put it through my finger. It's hard. So that's the key. The amount of strands is really the big thing here.
So big thing for what? Like to create less resistance in the electrical flow?
Yeah, and better flow, without a doubt. The thing you want to look for if you're buying wire, especially for grounding or high power, it should be marked with the letters AWG. That stands for American Wire Gauge.
Okay.
As he shows in the book, examples of two wires, same diameter outside sheath, but yet like this one, you can see inside how much of it is wire. It's like the majority of it is wire.
The sheath is very thin, and it's mostly filled with wire.
This one, the sheath is actually fairly thick for insulation. But the other one he showed, the sheath was just as thick, but it looked like the inside of your veins when they show you, when you have cholesterol buildup, and that pipe is clogged down to. So the same gauge wire sold the same way has so much far less. It would be like the size of a cigar or a pencil if that was the wire.
Oh, wow.
So that's why Tony always said, make sure that it says AWG. You'll get what you pay for.
Oh, good to know.
I'm going to see if we can get him back on the show. I want to get him on the show and talk about this stuff. Because he covers in his book, one of the things he covers that people get wrong all the time is the correct way to disconnect your battery. I mean, there's so much in this book. It's a
The correct way to disconnect the battery.
If you're going to work on the car and you need to disconnect the battery, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Now tell me if I'm wrong. I disconnect the negative side.
That's the correct way.
Oh, okay.
You know why?
Phew.
That's good. Do you know why?
No. No,
I'll tell you why.
I just disconnect the negative side because I'm always afraid if I disconnect the positive, I don't know. It's just, I always felt the negative is probably less or more safe. less dangerous.
If you disconnect the negative and the car is properly grounded, when you go to disconnect the positive, if your wrench or ratchet happened to touch a fender or something that's negative, it couldn't spark
Okay,
because you've removed the ground already.
because you removed the negative.
You
Yes.
removed that. So and it's just that is best practice is the negative. And of course you follow the reverse. When you put it back together, you put the positive cable on first, and then you
Mhm.
put the negative cable on. And it goes through some other things in the book. I highly recommend. This book is on Amazon. I'll put a picture of it on the weekly post so people can see it. And it's a plethora of good wiring
Ooh,
technique. It
a
gets into
plethora.
I mean it gets into the actual science and the math behind it. If you're not into that, there's things in there like how to correctly wire a relay, how to correctly use a relay,
Ooh,
as well as just other mundane things like how to make a good crimp on a ring terminal or barrel connector, and how not to make a good crimp, how to do it right and wrong. He covers it all in that book. So we had a good time talking about that stuff Thursday night. It was very informative. I thought.
I'm sure, and we're gonna have to talk about how to get our listeners back after that.
Well, listen, yeah, this stuff isn't for everybody. I know that. I've always known that. But for those,
No, it's very insightful. I'm joshing you.
no, no, you're right. You are right. But for those who care, like Kilowatt Kevin and I talk about this stuff all the time. In fact,
Oh, you guys, I'm sure, are a wild bunch when you're talking about that.
like perfect example.
Don't call the cops.
Like you and I, when we would go to a car show, what do we love to do? What was our favorite thing to look at?
Pick on people.
But for what? For what specifically?
Oh, usually it was their questionable wiring techniques.
No, it was the accoutrements, like the guy.
Oh yeah, that
Got a
too.
model of the Mustang on the revolving thing.
Right,
Kevin
exactly.
and I pick out all the electrical because Kevin worked in in
Yes.
a big electrical company for years, and I've been
Yeah.
electrical all my life as well.
You and Kevin are much more advanced when it comes down to those subjects than I am. I just follow along and listen and learn.
That's our thing. So in fact, I had given away. I think I gave Kevin my copy of this book, and then I was talking to Tony. This is going back years ago, and I said to him, "Holy crap, Tony! I can't believe I gave away my copy, the book that I had." I think he gave us some for listeners, and I gave them away. This is going back probably over 10 years ago.
Sure.
So this book, he kind of inscribed it to me. He signed it, and it says,
Don't give it away.
it says, Ray, don't give this copy away, Tony. And I kept it. So yeah, I like to share it with people who will enjoy it, obviously. And Brian and I
Sure.
had some good discussions. Brian knows a lot about electricity. And you know what? The other guys that are in that meeting or room at that time, they gain from it too, because they don't have to be actively involved in the conversation if they feel they're not up to it per se,
Right.
but they can listen and learn.
Oh yeah.
And always pick something up from what other guys are talking about.
That is one thing I've always appreciated about the Thursday show is that it is a wealth of knowledge.
There's a
And
lot.
yeah, yeah, it's always good. But yeah, every once in a while it goes a little long.
It does. It
Gotta
does.
take some notes.
And I think that's what you call the good with the bad.
Of course.
Even this show, things go all over the place.
What? This show is perfect. I know not what you speak, young man.
Yeah, no, I know.
This show is entertaining and informative to the nth degree.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how we're going to get more informative. We're rolling
How's
up to
that?
the bottom of the hour. Maybe we'll do an early break. In the
Ooh.
next segment, I'm going to roll in. I'm going to talk about tools, some like electrical tools, and maybe some house tools, and how they all come into play in the universe.
I love when you talk about your tool array,
But
Ray.
first, I will say that here, everybody out there, anybody in the room, anybody who's listening, you're all invited. Rob too. You're all invited to attend the job fair happening at Nassau Community College on Thursday, May 1st, from 9:30 to 12:30 in the P building, which is the phys ed building, or the gym, as you guys would call it. It's open to the entire NCC community, students and alumni. More information is online at ncc.edu/jobfair. And it wouldn't be the bottom of the hour if I didn't say this. The WHPC weather forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. As I look out the WHPC weather window,
What do you see, Ray?
it's beautiful outside.
Yes.
Oh yeah, mix of clouds and sun, but more sun. High of 65. It was yesterday was like the perfect spring day.
Yesterday was gorgeous.
It was. Now you sound like my daughter. She talks like that all the time. Yeah. Tonight, partly cloudy, going to go down to 44 again. After the sun sets, we go back down into the 50s and lower. So it's still not like if you're out, and believe me, I grew up like this. Guys will go out, nice day like this, you get on your motorcycle, you got maybe a denim jacket and your light pair of gloves, and boom, and you take off your hat and you, whatever you're doing, bar hopping, house hopping, riding with your friends, you usually end up being somewhere and then, hanging out, socializing, and now it's time to go. But it's gotten later. The sun is down. And it could be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10, 11, it could be 2 in the morning. It just gets better the later it gets. And then you go outside with your denim jacket and your T-shirt, and you're like, oh, man, I got to put the heat on in the car. Oh, I don't have the car.
Don't have the car.
And then you realize now you're riding home in the cold. And what's even worse are those times where you go out there and you see now everything is covered with a coating of dew because it got wet.
Right, because of the warm weather, and then it subsequently gets colder, and you may interact with some sort of humidity.
Those are what we call the young bikers, the guys who have not learned yet that, you're going out in the afternoon when it's 70 or 75, 80, feels nice, but you're thinking ahead like, yeah, when am I coming home? All right, put the other jacket in the saddlebag or roll it up and bungee it make sure you have your heavier gloves, be prepared because, when I look at guys riding now, one of the first things I look down, I look at their feet.
Yeah, you got me to do it too.
Well, because you'll see a guy, he'll have a heavy coat on. If you see him wearing like a winter, like an LLB coat, like, okay, this guy's not a real motorcyclist. He's wearing his winter clothes. It's not made for motorcycling. It doesn't even really stop the wind that great. But say, okay, so he bulked up on the upper level, and he's got some gloves on, but you look down, he's wearing chinos, and you can see the gap between the bottom of his pants and his tennis socks. You see his bare ankle, and he's wearing a pair of Capezios, and oh, that guy he's going to be in some chilling pain because when your ankles get cold, ooh boy, it's like the back of your neck getting cold,
Oh yeah. Well, these are techniques and bits of knowledge that I've never had to experience. You know why?
Because you don't ride a motorcycle.
Because I have a car.
I do too. So listen, but more importantly,
I wouldn't subject myself to such pain and torture because I don't see the reason in it.
Right. So, but do you see the reason in having an honor group of the hour, and do you have one for us?
That I do, yes, of course.
Please share.
Right here at the Motormouth Radio honor group of the hour, we are discussing and celebrating Easter, with this being Easter Sunday. The Motormouth Radio honor group of the hour this week are drivers that have discovered Easter eggs in their car. Now, I'm not talking about the color-dyed hard-boiled type. I'm talking about the hidden secret feature or symbol that car manufacturers include within their vehicles, adding a touch of surprise and fun to the car ownership experience. To those who do not know what I am speaking about, where you're way too old, think about the Indian head high beam indicator in your old Pontiac, okay? So can you locate the paw prints in the back cargo area of your late model Subaru? How about where the hidden Hellcat logos are located in the Challenger Hellcat? Can you count how many hidden animals, tiny lizards, spiders, and even Sasquatches are molded into the plastic parts of your Jeep Wrangler? So if you are always looking for little hidden confections or features in your late model vehicle, then you are into automotive Easter eggs and part of the Motormouth Radio honor group of the hour.
That's pretty wild. That's a good one. All right, very good. That's one for the ages. People remember that one forever.
Or forget it right after I've said it.
Exactly, right. So with that, we'll take our break. We'll be back with more Motormouth Radio in just a quick sec with Ray Guarino, Chris Switzer on 90.3 WHPC.
Oh yeah, did I mention that I'm 23 feet tall now? Maybe I forgot to tell you, it's been so long, you know how it gets when you feel you're getting larger and it's harder not to show it. Now I'm awkward at the beach and movie seats are out of reach.
Car not running right? Let the Motor Mounts help you out at 516-572-7440.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Okay, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my buddies at, what's the name of it again?
Motormouth Radio.
Hey, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my friends at Motormouth Radio. Sunday morning, I don't know what this fat bald guy's laughing about. You'll forget stuff soon enough too, my friend. Be sure to listen. When are you guys on? 10 a.m.?
Sundays at noon.
Noon on Sundays.
Excellent. This was
No, that's you got the promo. For, the best one was the first one. That's why I was because you said, "What was the name of this again?" That's the promo.
What better presentation could you do than that?
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motor Mouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to learn, what you're going to groove to on Motormouth Radio, but you're back with it, with your hosts, Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. So, Chris.
Yes?
I was doing a bit of a chore at the house.
You had to clean the cat litter.
But no, I do that multiple times every day. That doesn't never changes.
Better man.
Doing some rehab. We're doing some housework.
Oh yes, it's the Home and Garden Show here at Motormouth Radio.
It is. And I want to show you something. My daughter and I were doing some painting. I was doing one room, she was doing another, and I got to introduce her to a tool. Well, the regular tools, the brushes and the rollers, and I explained to her how this, I've had my stuff a long time because I clean it and take care of it, and you know what? I didn't have to tell her. She's, she knows.
She knows how crazy you are. You don't have to explain.
But I showed her something. I showed her one of my 40-year-old Purdy paintbrushes.
Wow, that's a 40-year-old brush that looks almost brand new.
Because I clean it and take care of it. But I showed her something else that the cat would really like. And it's a brush comb. Have you ever seen one of these?
Yes, I have seen them. I do not. It looks like a hard bristle brush. Oh, that cleans the dirt and the paint out of the brush.
Now, it won't do it now because the brush is dry. But when the brush is wet after you've rinsed it out, once you comb it, the segments stay. You can't see it. It stays in like groups that are like that far apart, like 1/10 of an inch apart, and it helps it dry better, and it helps you don't get the paint stuck inside.
That's always been the death of my brushes. A lot of times I'll take the brush and I'll just leave it in a glass jar filled with water. I'll put it and I'll just let it sit there for a couple of days, and then I'll take it out and it's still soft, and I'm able to clean out most of the crud that gets in that spot that brush that you just showed me looks like it would extract, which is really nice. I have to pick up one of those.
Which made me think of this tool right here.
What is that?
This is the
file?
This is the tool they I think they named it after you. This is a bastard file. Your favorite.
No, the SOB next to it.
But there is a tool for that, which is this thing, which
What
is
is
called a
that?
file card.
A file? No, a file card is what you find in a library.
That was the other kind of file card, just like, but this, you basically clean.
Oh, that's like a stiff,
it's
very low bristle brush.
Yeah.
That cleans the crud out of a file.
Right.
Well, look at all the stuff I'm learning.
I'm telling you, it's a plethora of information. Let's go to the phones here. Let's go to the phones.
Okay.
Say hi, caller. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Happy Easter. Happy Passover, gentlemen.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Robert.
I'm grand. You know why I'm grand?
Why?
Why?
Because Rob Leonard played I'm Your Boogeyman.
Oh, good song.
Oh, man. He is so...
And he didn't have a tissue.
No.
Oh, man, it was. I was making eggs, and I'm like, oh, man, here comes Rob Leonard.
Always, yeah. So he'll always catch you off guard. That's for sure.
That is true with his musical knowledge.
So
I agree.
My guess on the '73 Monte Carlo. That was the first year of that body change, right?
That's correct.
Sure.
Yeah, that was a sweet car.
Swivel bucket seats and all, console shift, the whole bit. Yeah.
Called the colonnade style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess. You said you took out the. They were 350s and 305s. They were 350s then.
Yeah, no 305s yet. It was a 350, or
I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
I'm guessing. Let me see. 73. They still had the. Well, that's the thing. There might have been a 402 or a 454.
Yeah, 454 started in the 70. Yeah, I had a 40. It was a 402. You're correct.
402, and I'm guessing if you took out the small block and it came with a turbo 350, you put. I know what you did. You put a stall speed converter of a turbo 400 in.
Bob is right on it, like he was in my backyard. I didn't go high stall because I knew I was gonna drive it on the street all the time. So I did have my neighbor at the time was a transmission rebuilder, so he did the tranny for me and tightened up the shifts, and we put in a slightly warmed over converter, nothing crazy because I was gonna drive it. But what I did do, Bob, this is one of the things that Chris and I agreed on later in life. I wanted it to look like the car came with that engine. So I literally had everything in there like Chevy would have put it in, and you couldn't tell that car wasn't ordered with that motor.
Very impressive.
Yeah. And it was not, it was a goer. It really was a go. And I did all polyurethane bushings in the suspension. I put Eagle ST tires on Corvette wheels. Again, keeping with the Chevy theme, everything didn't look out of place, and it went and it handled, and it was a real fun and nice car to drive.
I tell you, those Chevy rims, those Corvette rims, they're outstanding with the white lettering.
Yeah.
And I had a friend at the time, my friend Gerard was working at North Shore Tire, and they were able to get me the rims brand new, the steel rims. They were 8.5 inch. The Corvette had the 8.5 by 15s. So nice. I put like 255 50s on them all the way around. Nice fat tire, and the car really handled well. When you made.
My question to you is, so knowing you, trying to think. Yeah, you wouldn't use. You had thrush on there. You didn't use cherry bomb. You put thrush on.
Actually, no. That's the only place that I have to find fault with your synopsis here. No, I really wanted to keep the car a sleeper, so I went with
keep it low.
I went with a full exhaust with Walker mufflers and kept it quiet. Yeah.
Those Walker mufflers on the duals, they're nice.
It was nice. It was a little bit. It wasn't deep throaty, but it wasn't stock silent. It was a real nice compromise in between, and it was that was my transition into real adulthood with cars, because I didn't just throw headers on it with a pair of glass packs. Right, it was the first time.
Right, yeah.
So
you had to be respectable.
What was that, Bob?
You said you had the center console. Now, in the center console, they had it was the hoop. It was not a stick. It was a hoop, 3-speed on the console, and you had to squeeze the grip to get the gear to go.
Right.
Is that the console you had?
No, that was the one that the Chevelle came with.
And a lot of the Buicks, Pontiacs had it.
Yeah, the Monte Carlo had a single stalk with a black. A black button on it that you'd push the button down on top. But the interesting thing about that shifter was, and I found it out by accident, it actually worked like a slap shifter, where if you put it down into first and just pushed forward, as hard as you could. It would only go to second, and then it would come back, and then it would go to third, and then you had to push the button to go into. You couldn't go into reverse or park with it unless you pushed that button, but you could bang up through 1, 2, and 3 with it. And I found some.
I'm sorry. It's great you offer that information. I never heard that.
Yeah. It was kind of, and now recently I've been reading some older magazines, and I read where some of the cars came with that through the GM line, not just Chevy. Some came with it and some didn't. Like some of the F bodies had it and all, and some did not. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, neat.
Did you have the factory gauges in that too?
The car didn't have it. The Monte didn't have gauges in it because that was more of a luxury car. It was a luxury cruiser. I did put some gauges under the dash in that car. So I could monitor the engine.
Yeah. That's a nice car. Okay, so lastly, it's going to be a color now. Okay, did you have the swivel out buckets or just straight buckets?
Swivel buckets.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, so my guess is this.
Okay. He's channeling right now, Bob's.
You're right. Well, yeah, because when you picture a car, there's a color you always picture a car in most of the time.
Yes, yeah.
All right, marine blue saddle interior.
That's nice. No, my car was. I was running Couge before I was even though I didn't have a caddy. No, this car was white with a red interior.
Red top too, right?
And it had a wet red Landau. Red
vinyl.
So yeah.
It's funny you say that because if you looked at like a GM brochure for their when they changed the body style on the Chevelle and whatever they called it, the 73 74.
They had the Laguna.
Yeah, the Laguna. They were white with red interiors.
Yeah. It showed great, just like a caddy. Nothing looks better than like a 69 caddy, white over red. Come on.
My gosh.
So anyway, I just let me fill in the blank here. I was driving my GTO every day, and I got married the year before, and we were going to take that car on a honeymoon.
Okay.
But I was the last couple of weeks. We're getting toward the wedding now. I noticed when I'd make turns, I started hearing a little bit of a clunking noise in the back of the old Pontiac, and I was like, "Uh-oh, posi unit's going." But I didn't have time to get under there and pull it apart or fix it. And now it's like the week of my wedding. And I got to go at the end of the week and drive to Pennsylvania. And the kid up the block, 4 doors down, there was that Monte Carlo, and he had a set of the Kreger, the basket wheels on it. The basket wire wheels.
Oh, geez, really?
Not the SS. I know the basket.
Basket spokes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And well, they obviously came when I came back. They were gone. But I walked up the block and he had a sign on the car. I'm like, "How much off for Monte?" He was selling it, and we made a deal. And I don't even remember what I paid for it. But I said to him, "Let me tell you one thing," because I knew the kid. He was younger than me. He was one of the young guys on the block. I said,
"Yeah,
I'm buying this car. You tell me the truth," because I used to help him work on his stuff. I said, "I'm taking this car on my honeymoon. So if there's anything that goes wrong or anything I need to know now, you better tell me now. Because when I come back, I'll be looking for blood." And he says, "Listen, the car's been straight up. It's too tame for me. I'm looking to get more of a hot rod." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "I'll take you on your word." And luckily he was right. But my brother took it to training school up in Tarrytown one day, GM Porsche training school. It blew a head gasket on him. But that was another story, and that's what led to the engine swap. Yeah,
he was beating the heck out of it. That's why.
He was on the Conoco, just head gasket.
It was running.
But that's what, like I said, that's what led to the engine swap. So that was
all right. So now, where'd you get the? Yeah, I never really understood why they went from the 396 to the 402.
Okay.
Designation. Why they did that?
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead, please.
Because GM had a run of blocks that had a cylinder issue. There was a little bit of a problem with the cylinder run out. And instead of scrapping all the blocks, which would have put back production on the cars, they literally just bought them 30 thousandths. And
really
over on a 396 becomes 402. So, and that was the problem with those cars when you went into order parts, when you said, "I want parts for a 402, the guys always gave you stuff for a small block, 400. They thought you just didn't know what you were talking about. So you had to say, no, it's for a 3. Unless you were buying piston rings or pistons, you could just say 396 and you'd get what you needed.
You know, it's I never heard anyone ever speak badly about the 396 from 325s all the way up to 375.
Yeah.
I never
It was
heard
a rock solid motor.
Malcolm.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, great
Mm-hmm.
platform. I love it. And Bob, I still have the engine out of that car. When I had to get rid of the car because it was rusting away, I took the bucket seats out. I took the console and shifter out. I took my Z28 steering wheel off it, and I took the engine and transmission and the wheels. The Corvette wheels came off, and I still have that 402 in my garage. That's what I was going to put in one of my project cars. So
That's just a great story. Also, the thick-rimmed Z28 steering wheel.
My favorite. That's
Yeah.
the video in the studio on about clean it with brake clean because they would always outgas. I have a couple of those wheels.
Yeah, that's a famous steering wheel for Motormouth Radio.
That video is up on Motormouth Radio YouTube channel. I put it up a few weeks ago. You could go there and see it. So,
all right. Well, I talked your ear off.
You made my job easy, Bob. You always do.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the birthday boy?
Yes.
Is it his birthday?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was. Yeah.
Okay. Well, happy birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Birthday weekend. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Until we meet again.
All right, Bob. Thanks very
All
much.
right, Bob. Always a pleasure.
Later, gentlemen.
All right. So long.
Be safe.
All right. That encapsulated my early life. That was nice.
So I'm sure we're going to find a picture of the Monte Carlo up on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll
during
put
the
a
week.
picture up. Funny story with that car. I just told my wife this story just Friday. We were driving around, and I don't know how it came up.
And I'm sure it wasn't the first time she's heard it. She's heard it before.
She didn't remember. I was working at Lebanon, and I had a boss who was an academic. So he was a very, very learned guy, but not a hands-on guy. I was his hands. And on Friday, we would always touch base. Hey, what are you doing for the weekend? He really where are you going for dinner? He was a big foodie and wine guy.
Okay.
I said, I got a job this weekend. I got to swap an engine in my car. He's like, what? I said, yeah, I got to take, one engine out, put another one in. He goes, the car that you drive all the time? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, wow, well, I guess we won't be seeing you on Monday. I said, why? We think we're going to go out cruising for the day? I said, I'd love to, but no, I'll be at work. And he couldn't fathom that you could do that job in a weekend. And he says, how are you going to do that? I said, when I get home tonight, I said, my brother's coming over, going to help me take the hood off the car because it's the size of a dining room table.
It's 6.5 feet tall.
I said, and then first thing Saturday morning, I go out there, I start pulling everything apart. I got the hoist, I'll pull the engine and tranny out, prep the other engine, and then swing the other one in either late Saturday. So then Sunday I can get in there and just do all the hookup. And I said, barring any unforeseen consequences, I'll be driving it Monday morning. And he couldn't believe it. And of course, it made a liar of me. I did not drive it in Monday morning. The reason was because of that Walker exhaust. I bought a full exhaust, and the flanges that they gave me for the pipes up to the exhaust manifolds, they gave me the wrong flanges.
Oh, no.
I couldn't bolt the exhaust up. So I had to, I took my motorcycle into work and I drove it in Tuesday. So to wrap this up, the file card, like I said, this is very stiff, short bristles of
I've seen that before. I've seen that brush before. Yes.
And as you file stuff, especially if you file aluminum or wood, like a lot of people like to do, this will actually get into the cuts, the curves of the file and clean out that material.
Yeah, fantastic.
Then there's one more.
Oh, there's one more brush.
Here's one I've shown guys at the shop. It's not actually a brush. It's this thing here.
What is that?
It's got these three.
It looks like a hammer with no.
It's got these three wheels.
Oh, it's got wheels in there.
These wheels spin.
Yeah.
This is used to recondition and flatten your grossly misshapen bench grinding wheel. You know when people grind in the middle of the wheel and the wheel now has this big concave in the middle? Well,
right.
With this, these two legs that are on here sit on the tray that's on your bench grinder. There's usually a tray in front of the wheel.
Right.
It's on there, and you bring the wheel you bring these wheels up to the grinding wheel as it's spinning, and you can move this side to side. These wheels spin along, the grinding wheel makes these spin.
Right.
It actually reconditions them until they're back,
So
till the wheel's back flat again.
it straightens out those bristles from fanned out to back to straight.
Yeah, except it's a grinding wheel, not a brush.
Oh, the grinding wheel
So the grinding
itself.
wheel, the actual wheel that spins.
I'm thinking of the bristle brush.
No. That's for a grinding wheel. That's how you
Got it.
surface and condition. Because again, I'm in shops all the time, and even the shop that I work out, somebody will invariably grind a piece of aluminum.
Hmm.
You don't grind aluminum because it just clogs the wheel. So now,
Right.
wherever that aluminum is stuck, you're not going to get a cutting action when you want to grind something else. So
No,
you get
'cause-
it out. And the way to do it is with one of these tools.
Got it.
It'll make some
Okay.
grinding dust. You always want to make sure you're wearing eye protection and maybe a face shield. And
That's for the lawyers.
because it's going to, well, no, it's actually for common sense and good use.
Yeah.
If you've ever used one of these, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
I mean, you can hand clean a file. You don't have to have tons of PPE on. It's not that big of a deal. You're doing it. Stuff's not flying all over.
Right.
In the case of that grinding wheel, yes, because there's always the outside chance that a wheel can come apart and explode.
A grinding wheel?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
I've never had it happen to me, but it can happen. Case in point, Brian was telling me about he was doing a lot of work on his Mustang using the 3-inch cutoff wheels that he bought at a well-known discounted tool selling store, and he had like 3 or 4 of them blow up on him, in a row. And I just said this Thursday night to him. I said, I actually have a stack of those in the garage that I bought when I was working on my Pontiac. And I've never had one blow up on me. Now maybe they changed their supplier. Maybe those wheels have changed over the years and they got of less quality. I never personally had one blow on me, but he had 3 or 4 in a row, and I know he knows how to use the tool, so I'm sure it wasn't from misuse.
Well, we got a text. We got a text from Echo Man. Hey, Mac, Brian, at 203-670-4127. He says, yes, he confirms it cleans the aluminum out of the grinding stone.
Yes.
But he also, when you were talking about, you were talking with him about electrical issues, he also identified, he says, he is electrifying. He says, I'm electrifying.
Right.
So, thank you, Brian.
He absolutely is. Brian's one of those electrifying people.
Yes,
Brian.
that's true. And just to bring up something real fast, I actually had a bunch of old Cadillac parts. One of them being a cornering light from the Seville that I've had 100 years ago. And for some reason, I've collected those things because I guess they easily break. So I've had them. And one of them I had happened to be broken. The clip, one of the retaining clips on the back of it, my dad, of all people, glued the retaining clip back on, and then it broke again.
Oh, wow.
So I had this part that needed work, but I went and looked online to see how much they were going for, and in good condition, they're going for like $200 a piece. Wow. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take this part, and I'm going to put it up, say it's broken. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to glue something on this thing in order for it to work well, but I'm going to sell it for like $40.
Okay, fair.
That day it went.
Oh, geez.
Literally, within like 2 hours, it was gone. Like someone from Washington bought it. I had to put it in a box and send it out the next day.
I did it again. Speaking of that, there's a tool that I've been looking at. I happen to have one. I have one. It's a 3/8 drive. It's a ratchet adapter. Now, I didn't bring it in. What it does is it lets you take a breaker bar and you put this ratcheting adapter on the breaker bar and you put a socket on it. And it'll let the socket ratchet. And it has an on, like a ratchet, has an on off. So I have a 3/8 one, but I never use it. I said, what I need is one that's 1/2 inch, because for one specific procedure,
which is
working on a car, if you're doing something with timing and you want to rotate the engine by the crankshaft,
right?
You put a breaker bar up in there with a socket, and you get 90 degrees rotation. You got to take it off and put
it off, put it back on again. Yeah.
This way you could ratchet it back, and you can turn that motor with a ratchet. Like a
3/8 would be a little light.
Yeah. So I always wanted a 1/2 inch one.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen them on eBay. I never got one. I saw one came up this week, and it was a snap-on tool, and the beauty of that is you can decode the year it was made. And the guy had the picture. There's after the name snap-on, and they'll have the tool part number. There's another character, and that character, there's a a decoding chart, which I have. I'll put a picture up of it. This thing was made in 1956.
You bought it.
So of course I bid on it, and I bid on somebody else against somebody else. And I
Oh no!
I won it.
Yay! All right.
I was like, I was gonna go buy a new one, like one of the new brands.
No, get the old one
But
from
I want it.
1956.
Took it out in the garage, put some Tris oil in it yesterday, cleaned it up. The thing works beautiful.
And it will always work beautiful. It'll outlive all of us. Just like this program.
Just like this show's outlived. So listen, we're done. What are we telling people waiting for me out in the Easter Bunny Mobile in the parking lot there?
Don't follow us home unless you have a decent breaker bar.
Right. So stay tuned for Kim and Thunder Road, Best of Springsteen and the Band. As always, we won't be in next week. We're off because we did our 2-hour fundraiser last week. So
right,
we'll put up a replay, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
So for Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, Motormouth Radio signing off. Have a happy Easter. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you, bye.
On 90.3 WHPC. Bye-bye.